Welcome to OutRight TV, a video podcast series bringing you stories of LGBTIQ people and allies across the globe as we face COVID-19 pandemic together. I'm Nish, Caribbean Program Officer at OutRight Action International, and in today's episode, I am talking to my dear friend and activist from Guyana, Elijah Caesar. Welcome to OutRight TV, Caesar.
Hey, thanks.
All right, so we're gonna have a little conversation. Let's catch up a bit. And so first, I want to say that I think that you have one of the best voices, so charismatic. Really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. Now, I would describe you as somebody that's very warm, very passionate. Let's tell our viewers and listeners how you would describe yourself.
How would I describe myself? How to describe Elijah? Elijah is a bit of a nut, I should say, a hard exterior and an even tougher inside, but still nutritious. I'm a caring, a loving, as you said, passionate guy, very, very passionate, compassionate. I try to help as much as possible, which filters into my profession of being a nurse. I'm an introvert but extrovert. I don't know how that really works out. Like I like people, but I don't really like people. I like my space. That's the thing. There's a bit about me. We'll figure out the rest as we go along in the video.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. I agree with quite a bit of that. So I think for me as well, I describe myself as an introvert mostly, but for many reasons, I'm visible as well. So it's how we balance that kind of visibility with our need for space and privacy, while we need to also be visible for ourselves and for our community. So I empathize with you on that, trying to find that balance. And you mentioned, the last time I saw you was it feels like years and years ago. It's actually Advocacy Week, OutRight Advocacy Week in December 2018, which is over a year ago. No, I saw you again after that, Caesar. I saw you in Guyana a couple months after that. Yes. So what has life been like since then? What projects have you been involved in since we last saw each other?
So the last time we chatted, has been involved mostly in community education. So on the basis of social workers and police officers. So I'm more of an independent activist, but when called upon by local organizations, I fall in and try to bridge the gap of knowledge for persons to bring the visual to the theory. So when we're having these conversations about gender diversity and all of these things that persons think they don't exist and persons like this would exist, I'm there to be the light or to say that yes, we do exist, because you don't even know you're standing here talking to somebody like me that you think isn't alive, or it's not possible to be alive. So it's more of a educational level for me, just going out and imparting knowledge as best as I can, along with what my personal advocacy is just being visible, posting photos on my social pages and stuff like that to bring a bit of light. And now I'm going through public and accessing public spaces, and I'm hearing persons engaging in conversations that they otherwise wouldn't have engaged in. They're talking about being transgender and persons changing of genders and stuff like that. And these are conversations that they would have never had. They would have said, oh well, they're trying to be, or you're trying to be like this. Now it's coming from over perspective of, oh, so persons can change. We have persons changing within us, so what are we gonna do now?
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you mentioned, visibility, and I see a very beautiful, you're a beautiful man too, but a beautiful flag behind you.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that flag. What's the significance of it for you, and for people like you and for people like myself? This is also a very special day that we're recording this conversation on, so that adds some level of significance. Why is that? I'm kind of been a little bit cryptic for some people, so can you please tell us more?
All right, so today is a day of trans visibility, and behind me is the flag that represents the transgender community that we use to represent us. So for me, this flag is empowerment. Being able to wave this flag and have this flag just hung up in my place, walking by, I feel powerful, I feel prideful, I feel good because of this I'm able to live more comfortable than I've been in many years, and I'm actually living and not just existing. And for this flag for me, it means opportunity. It means that I can continue to go on and do all the things that I probably thought I would not have. So for me, this flag is life. For me,
Yeah.
this journey.
No, continue. Poetry, like I'm just listening to poetry right now, you know?
Oh man, I just uh, like starting before starting this journey, I didn't know to put my left foot first and my right foot first, as in terms of just who I was. Like, it was very confusing, combat with society and me trying to suppress my just natural nature of loving women, which isn't tied into my gender identity, but like just figuring myself out and then coming to a place where I'm provided with knowledge about that helped me to figure who I was. And well, now I'm able to live. And I keep using this word living a lot because like I don't think it would have been possible had I not started on this journey.
Yeah, and I think, like, I mean, we've come a long way. I've known you for a good many years, and, watching you and seeing your growth, Advocacy Week, I think when you came to OutRight Advocacy Week in 2018, I think that was like a pivotal time in your life. Like, what was the significance of that experience for you?
All right, so Advocacy Week was very personal for me. Right, we going and we seeing all these activists and they're having all of these stories and they're talking about things that don't necessarily connect with Caribbean folk. They're talking about social is not social cyber issues and things that we didn't really have that problems. And I'm just sitting and I'm listening to all of these people and they're talking about, oh well, they're being killed and stuff like that. I mean, we have instances of violence, but not on the scale. So I was feeling a bit of imposter syndrome. Like, these people got way more problems than I do in my country, and I shouldn't be here and stuff like that. And then I could remember being, took aside, and like short of a panic attack, and you know, we spoke to, I think I spoke to Jessica, and I also spoke to you. Spoke to both of you, and I was expressing feelings that I shouldn't be here. I don't know where I fit in because I felt like I had nothing to add, and you guys reassured me that all right, so everybody can't be speaking, everybody can't be engaging at the same time. So maybe this journey is a personal one for you. Maybe this is for growth. So you just sit and you take in. If you feel like you have something to add, then you feel free to add, but don't feel pressured. And that really did it for me, taking away that pressure of me feeling that I have to say something. I have to sound my voice. I have to, because for the majority of the time, all I just standing up and saying, oh well, I am Elijah Caesar, I'm from Guyana, and that's it. And people probably thought I couldn't speak. So after I got through that pressure of feeling that I have to just say something, and I just started to sit back and take in, and I started to listen to what persons were doing and listening to the strategies that persons would have implemented within their regions, and sought to see how best I could incorporate that into my settings with much tailoring, because different societies, so you have to always tailor everything to fit your specific situation. So I left there. I think that was my changing point in advocacy and as an individual, coming from being a very shy, timid, kind of in the corner person, don't really want to be on TV, can't really speak to people, always stumbling, always fumbling, to you meeting with ambassadors, you go into these meetings and you're speaking and you engaging with these person, and that by itself, being surrounded with other empowered queer people, that does something for you. I came back home, I wasn't taking nothing from nobody. I would stand for my identity. I'm like, yo, I'm trans, this is me, I know for sure. Don't call me mom, I'm Mr. Don't call me sis, I'm bro. So when I came back home, I was adamant about using my correct pronouns, and I had to start with me in order to be able to go out and deal with the community. I had to do work on me.
So proud of you. Absolutely. Like, really, warms my heart to see your growth. And every stage of your journey is important. All of it is valid. You know, the shy Caesar to the more empowered Caesar, all of it makes up who you are. So thanks for sharing that. You know, and you know, I want to switch a little bit, you know, because you mentioned about the work that you do, and you're kind of in the heart, your career, you know, apart from being an activist, you also have a career outside of activism, which of course I'm sure you still take to your job with you. But can you tell us a little bit about your profession and how you're managing on that level, and how your country is coping with the spread of the virus in Guyana?
Well, I am a registered nurse by profession, so we're on the front lines. How we're dealing with, we're trying to take precautions, telling people to wash their hands and social distancing. But I think we don't take things seriously until it's too late, and that's a fact, because persons are still going out. They think that social distancing mean that we could be social at home, like you could come over by me and we could chill still as a group, large group, everybody in everybody face, we still sharing hookahs and things like that, not knowing that we're exposing ourselves and we're exposing our relatives, because when we leave these settings, we're going back home and we're going to talk to our moms, and these are persons that are most susceptible to the virus. So persons are taking it very seriously. They started to do lockdowns in certain regions in my country, but the main region has not had a curfew as yet. And persons are still taking advantage of that. I was heading home last night and I saw people on the road group up drinking. The bar is closed, but they're outside. They still mean to socialize. So we we are very hard here. Hard is, I don't know if that's a term known throughout the Caribbean. Your ear is hard, you don't listen, and who is hard, they're gonna feel. If your ear is hard, they're gonna feel. That's a term that we normally say. So I think that we are not prepared for the COVID virus, because if the first world countries are being hit so hard and they cannot manage it, what about the Caribbean countries that have limited ventilator systems like mine? And I I think if it is to impact us the way it is impact, like on the scale that it is in other countries, that we are going to take a serious blow. And every day I get up and I put on my uniform for work, and I wonder, is today the day that I'm going to get the virus? Because persons are lying too. They come to the hospitals, they're lying about their history, putting you at risk. And we had a patient on the wards with some of the nurses. He had all the symptoms, and they're lying about the history. And later on, we found out that the patient is positive, and we had two staff that already started to have symptoms before finding out that the patient is indeed positive. So it's a risky profession, but according to a doctor that I was working with, in war, we can't stay home. So just cannot sit down. So just have to march to the front, and we have to do our thing, because if we stay home, if we the healthcare professionals, if we the frontline persons stay home, who is going to tend to everybody else? So joining this profession, you really have to be for it. You have to have the heart for it. It's a selfless profession.
Wow, that's pretty amazing that you are able to do activism on so many different and important levels, you know. So being on the front line, I salute you for the work that you're doing. You know, I'm sure you're taking the necessary precautions as best as you can. And you know, I'd love to hear what advice you have for our community in these uncertain times, like for you know the different ways in which you know LGBTQ people or trans people specifically are impacted by COVID. What advice do you have for those who are listening from the Caribbean or across the world, who you know from your areas of expertise? What do you have to share with our listeners and viewers?
Uh, so this virus is serious. This virus is not only attacking old persons. This virus is also attacking youth. So in some countries, yes, we're finding that older persons are dying, and in some countries, we find that even the younger persons, the youth with no medical history, are being susceptible to the virus. So my advice to you is just try to maintain social distancing. I know we are a social set of persons, and we live for friends and grouping up and ganging up. Most of us, a lot of us, even if it's one or two persons, but just try to maintain the social distancing. There is all these technology. You can video call, you can FaceTime, you can do all of these things to maintain, that connection with other persons. Stock up on groceries. That should have been happening before. Like just stock up on your essentials, your soap, your toilet paper, canned food, non-perishable foods. Now it's not time to be buying broccoli and thing and stuff like that. Are going to be spoiled within a few days. You buy your non-perishables. You stock up on your tuna, your sardine, whatever it is that you can use, your beans and stuff, and you get that. Your soap, you practice hand washing, your social distancing. If you have a cough or cold, you wear a mask. And I think they're trying to examine the protocol of having everybody wear masks right now, but I don't know if it's on that scale yet. But you just take necessary precautions as hand washing and so keep your distance, and this too shall pass. Because if we all go and we gang up, it's gonna take longer, and then we have to stay inside even much longer. So if we maintain our distance, then we provide a less more medium for this virus to travel, and the sooner we can be back outside being our lovely prideful selves.
Thank you for sharing that. And you said something too, about what social distancing means. It's not to distance yourself from strangers, but it's also to actually practice social distancing in your social circle, right? So it doesn't mean that you're going to have a house party, a COVID party, right? If you want to have a COVID party, use the internet, have a virtual party, invite your friends, but share the link. Don't share
Mm-hmm.
the address. Don't share your home address. Share the link for the thing
Yes,
and
that's
have a
right.
party. So we hope that everybody will be okay and we can all see each other face to face again. In the meantime, we'll take advantage of the wonderful internet and
Mm-hmm.
access that many of us have, for those, and we understand that is also a privilege for some people who might not have the same level of access. But on that note, thank you for joining me today, Caesar. I really appreciate it. And for you to take the time to speak with me for OutRight TV. I am
Eh,
Nick, OutRight's Caribbean Program Officer, and my colleagues and I will be back with you for more stories. Thank you, Caesar.
thank you, Nish. Good talking to you, man.
You too.